Global demand for physical silver is on the rise, and according to new data that was just released by the Silver Institute, a 16% increase in consumption of the white metal this year alone has created the biggest silver deficit in decades. In 2022, as many as 1.2 billion ounces of physical silver will be consumed worldwide, and the supply provided by mining and recycling just cannot keep up. So why does the world need so much silver anyway, and what does it mean for us stackers? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, so let's get to it. Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. Thanks for tuning into today's video. If you enjoy it and you get some value from it, please do give it a big thumbs up down below. And today's video is brought to you by Bullion, so if you're thinking of stacking some silver, don't forget to check them out with the link down in the description. Okay, so where is all of this silver going? I mean, why does the world need 1.2 billion ounces of this amazing metal anyway? Well, one major trend is growing industrial use. The transition to green tech and electric vehicles has led to a significant increase in silver's role in manufacturing. Of all the metals on the periodic table, silver is the best conductor of both heat and electricity, making it an ideal material for a variety of high-tech industrial applications. In fact, every industrial application tracked by the Silver Institute is on the rise, with the exception of film and photography. Take, for example, the amount of silver consumed in the production of photovoltaics or solar panels. In 2022, silver consumption for this application alone is forecast to hit 127 million ounces. That's up from 55 million ounces just a decade ago, more than a 130% increase. And consumption by automakers is also on the rise, accounting for approximately 5% of annual silver consumption. More silver is needed to produce vehicles that utilize a greater number of electronic components, and as the transition to electric vehicles accelerates, you can expect this industrial application to grow even more rapidly. This year, total industrial consumption of silver will be just shy of 540 million ounces, representing an increase of roughly 20% over the past decade. And when you consider that mining production has remained largely flat over that same period, you can see that this silver deficit, it's not likely to go away anytime soon. But even though industrial demand for silver is on the rise, it's not enough on its own to create the kind of deficits in the supply of physical silver that we are seeing. Investment demand for physical silver is also moving up in a big way. In fact, it's up by almost 18%. Producing enough silver bars, coins, and rounds for investors is forecast to take 329 million ounces off of the market in 2022. And at today's spot price of $21, that's about $6.8 billion worth of silver. Now, that might sound like a lot, but let's put it in perspective. Volume data from the COMEX, just one of the world's commodity exchanges, shows that just this past Friday, the volume of paper silver contracts changing hands was 56,384. And at 5,000 troy ounces per contract, that means that about $5.9 billion worth of paper silver changed hands in one day. That's just shy of the entire physical bullion investment demand for the whole year. Kinda makes you wonder how much physical metal is really backing up all of that paper, right? But investors do seem to be cluing into this fact, and that's reflected in the rising premiums for physical silver bullion products. And that paper silver does seem to be losing its shine. The report released by the Silver Institute points out that the exchange-traded silver products, or ETFs, such as the SLV, are set to witness their largest annual decline on record, more than 110 million ounces. And it should come as no surprise that in an era of rampant inflation, currency wars, out-of-control fiscal and monetary policy, and the looming threat of sovereign debt crises around the world, that investors are taking to heart that old stacker mantra, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Now, silver coins, bars, and rounds, they're not the only bullion that investors around the world are stacking. Silver jewelry demand is also set to hit a record in 2022 at 235 million troy ounces, up more than 29% from just last year. And much of that silver is heading east. Indian silver imports are up nearly 80% this year, a new record. This surge in demand for investment-grade silver from India has led to the drawdown of Western warehouse stocks of silver at the LBMA and the COMEX. Registered deliverable silver at the COMEX, for example, has declined from over 150 million ounces in 2021 to under 36 million ounces today, a 5-year low. Silver squeeze, anyone? If this trend continues, the premiums on physical bullion products, they're going to go much, much higher. So we know that demand for silver is rising, but why is it that the supply can't keep up? Well, the answer is simple. It's just that silver right now is incredibly cheap. Take a look at this chart of the Dow to silver ratio. You can see that the only time on this chart that silver was more undervalued relative to stocks than it is today was back in 2001 during the dot-com bubble, a year when the price of silver averaged just $4.37 per troy ounce. Or take a look at the gold to silver ratio. At the time I'm recording this video, it takes 83 ounces of silver to equal the value of 1 ounce of gold, a number very close to the historical high end of this ratio. In the past, when silver has been this cheap relative to gold, it rarely stays that way for long. Another factor is that the majority of global silver production is actually a byproduct of other metals being mined, such as zinc, copper, or gold. And so global silver production is largely dependent on the demand for these other commodities. And right now, inflation and rising energy prices have led to higher costs for miners, and yet the price of silver, it has lagged behind. And before we see more primary silver mines come online to help meet the rising demand, the silver price will simply have to be much higher in order to incentivize miners to make the requisite investments for such projects. The bottom line is this: until silver rises in price, the deficits will continue. So either prices are going to have to rise to incentivize greater production, or the world will just have to stop consuming so much silver. I'll leave it to you to decide which is more likely, and I'd love it if you would leave me a comment down below to let me know what you think. Thanks for watching this video. Stay safe and happy stacking, everyone. Smart Silver Stacker, out.